Welcome, 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 welcome to the Mind Funk Podcast. Welcome, welcome, welcome once again, my friend. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking time out to hang out with me. I am so grateful. My name is Wonu Alishe, and sometimes I do go by Amazing Soul. Welcome once again to the Mind Fuck Podcast. All right. Before we get into today's episode, which I'm pretty excited about, we have like a tradition where I put together a list that I titled Reminders to Being Human. Essentially, it's a reminder, it was meant to serve as a reminder to me and ultimately serve as a reminder to you on your journey. So, right before we get into today's episode, I'm going to be reading that list. All right. Reminders to being human. Have fun along the journey. Show yourself compassion. Be kind to others. Being complex and being simple can hold true in the same breath. Stay curious. Hold space for pauses. Hold space for not knowing. Never underestimate the power of silence. Nature has a lot of wisdom. Pay attention. There is power in we than I. If nothing else matters, oh, sorry. If nothing else makes sense, come back to love. Oh, pain is our greatest teacher. And the very last one, never underestimate your ripple of existence. Welcome once again, my friend. Woo! Let's get into today's episode. Okay. As always, I want to start somewhere very simple today. I don't want to start with advice. I'm not starting any mindset tips. I don't want to start with how to stop sabotaging yourself. No. I want to start with a feeling many of us recognize, but we rarely name. That moment when things are finally going well and something in you tightens. It's not exactly fair. It's not panic either. It's a it's a subtle internal resistance. It's more like a hesitation, a delay, a strong urge to pull back, overthink, distract, or quietly undo what you built. That's what I want to talk about today. Not self sabotage as a character flaw, no. Not self sabotage as lack of discipline, no. I want to talk about the quiet pattern behind self sabotage. I mean, the one that lives in the body long before it shows up in behavior. That's what I want to talk about today. You see, for me, for a long time, I thought self sabotage meant I was broken. I thought it meant I didn't want success badly enough, or I lacked consistency, or I had some deep fear of success that I needed to heal, right? But when I slowed down enough to actually observe what was happening in my body, I realized something different. I was not sabotaging myself. My nervous system was protecting me, and it was doing so very quietly. Woo! Let me tell you what self sabotage looked like for me. It wasn't dramatic. It didn't look like blowing up my life. It didn't look like quitting everything. It actually looked like subtle delays. Starting things, then hesitating once momentum is built. Feeling clear and grounded, then suddenly get tired for no obvious reason. Having insight, then over explaining it to myself until the energy is drained out of it. It looked like rumination. Thinking things through again and again, replaying conversations again and again, and trying to get it right. From the outside looking in, it looked like reflection. And from the inside, it felt like friction. And for years on my journey, I did not question it. I thought that was just how my mind worked, right? But the more I paid attention to my body, the more I noticed a pattern. Ooh. You see, my friend, self-sabotage did not happen when things were unsafe. No. Self-sabotage happened when things were calm. They happened when there was space, when there was possibility, when there was forward movement without urgency. That's when my system would quietly step in. I want to pause here and say something very important. Your nervous system does not sabotage you for no reason. It only responds to history, not conscious history, embodied history. And that distinction matters a lot. For me, a lot of that history formed early on in my life as a child. Growing up, safety wasn't consistent, regulation wasn't modeled, emotions weren't something you explore, they were just something you managed and suppressed as a child growing up. And later in my life, being in the military, it reinforced the pattern. I mean, high pace, constant readiness, pushing through discomfort, overriding your body. And so for years, my system learned that survival required urgency. Movement meant safety, and stillness meant vulnerability. So when my life began to slow down, especially after transitioning out of the army, my nervous system did not interpret that as peace. No, it actually interpreted that as danger. And this part is very important because self sabotage often appears not when you're failing, but when you finally feel safe enough to stop bracing. And if your system was shaped in an environment where safety was conditional, calm can feel unfamiliar, even sometimes threatening, right? And I want to share a very ordinary moment that's really helped me to see this very clearly in my life. There were days where I would finally sit down to rest. I mean, not exhausted kind of rest, not collapse kind of rest. I mean, give myself actual permission to pause. And within minutes of just pausing, my mind would kick in. And suddenly I'll remember something I should be doing. Suddenly I'll remember something I have not finished. Suddenly I'll remember something that could go wrong. And I will feel a tightening in my chest area. Not anxiety, more like readiness. And without thinking, I'll get up. I mean, I will be there, check my phone, do something productive, distract myself, you know. And for so many years, I genuinely thought that was discipline, but it wasn't. It was my nervous system saying in the background, stillness is unfamiliar. Let's move. You see, self sabotage often isn't an act of destruction. From my experience, it's an act of regulation. The system returns you to what feels known, even what's known is not good for you. It's a walking paradox. Another place this showed up for me was sleep. You see, for a long time, I struggled with severe sleep disruption. I mean, 2 to 4 hours a night. I'd be waking up constantly and just feeling fucking frustrated in my body. I used to think my body was failing me. But over time, when I stopped forcing sleep and started observing my system, something started to shift. I realized my nervous system did not feel safe enough to fully shut down. For me, then, sleep wasn't rest, sleep was vulnerability. So my body stayed alert. And here's the funny part, the more I judged that, the more my body resisted. And once I stopped treating sleep as something to control and started treating it as something to create safety around, things started to change. Very slowly, gradually, but meaningfully. Self sabotage works the same way, right? The more we try to override it, the stronger it becomes. The quieter approach is what actually creates change, right? And I want to talk about emotional charge here because this is where things really started to click for me, right? I will say this, and I've said this before, an emotional charge is not a thought, it's a sensation. It's a tightening in the chest area, a pressure in your throat, a sudden heat in the body. That's an emotional charge. And for me, for most of my life, when that sensation showed up, I reacted immediately. I mean, I'll try to explain it, I'll try to justify the charge, or sometimes I'll even act from the charge. Even worse, sometimes I even try to calm the charge down. But over time, I learned something simple and surprisingly powerful. I could pause, literally stop what I was doing, stand still, and observe the sensation. Not fix it, not label it, just fucking notice it. And I've said this before, and I'll never stop saying it, and I'll tell myself while I notice it, I am simply noticing the sensation in my chest area. That's it. That's simple. No story, no conclusion. And when I did that, ooh, consistency, my friend, again and again and again and again and again, not perfectly, but consistently, the charge began to soften, not disappear, not vanish, but it started to lose its grip. Do you see? Here's the key insight. Self-sabotage often rides on unobserved emotional charge. When the charge goes unseen, it drives your behavior. When it's seen, observed, it has less leverage. I'll share with you another pattern I noticed was how self-sabotage in my life showed up around agency. When I was operating from urgency, I mean, giving myself tight deadlines, external pressure, expectation, I moved easily. But when I had true agency, there was space, there was autonomy, I hesitated. Not because I didn't care, but because my system did not recognize agency as safe. And agency, my friend, requires trust. And trust takes time. Woo! It takes a lot of time, my friend. And this is where abandonment patterns come in. When emotional time pauses, when parts of us freeze at the age they first felt unsafe, those parts still run the show. So an adult opportunity can feel like a childhood risk, not logically embodied. That's why, my friend, insight alone doesn't dissolve self-sabotage. Your body has to update too. That's the truth. Patience, my friend. And I want to be very clear here. Self-sabotage is not a moral failing. No. It's a never system strategy that once kept you safe. Even if it no longer serves you. It did keep you safe in the past as a survival mechanism. So this is what actually helps, right? What actually helps is not forcing action, not shaming yourself, not pushing harder. No. What helps is creating micro moments of safety. I mean, small, repeatable signals that tells your body, we are okay now. I mean, feeling your feet on the ground, yawning and completing the cycle, laying flat and let gravity support you. I mean, drinking water slowly. I mean, they seem simple. But simplicity is what the nervous system understands, my friend. Simplicity. There's so much power behind that. Another thing I want to share with you that's helped me was letting progress be quiet. Not announcing it, not trying to prove your progress. Just let your system acclimate. Let's let your system get used to your new environment. Safety grows through consistency, not intensity. And over time, safety turns into trust. Oof. I want to offer you a reframe, a shift in perspective. So instead of asking yourself, why do I keep sabotaging myself? Try asking this question instead. What part of me is trying to protect me right now? Try asking, what does this hesitation need in order to feel safe? You can also try asking, what am I not noticing in my body right now? Those questions change the relationship because what they do, because they invite curiosity instead of control. Here's something I have learned the hard way. Your nervous system does not respond to being rushed. Woo! I tell you this from experience. It responds to being met. And when it's met consistently, it updates itself without no interference. Do you see? If you're listening to this, my friend, and recognizing yourself, I want you to hear this clearly from me. And I'll always keep saying this on this show. You're not broken. You're not lazy. You're not failing. Your system learned patterns that made sense at that time. And now you're giving your system new information. And that, my friend, takes patience. Ooh, a lot of patience. Patience is, patience is very, very key on this journey, my friend. I will leave you with this. Self-sabotage quiets not when we conquer it. No, but it starts to quiet down when we start to understand it. When we stop seeing it as an enemy and start seeing it as a signal. A signal asking for safety, presence, and time. And those are things you can give to yourself gently, consistently, and without force. My friend, if something in this episode landed for you, sit with it. Don't try to fix anything. Just notice what's happening in your body. Right? Just notice. Observe yourself. That's where change actually begins. And while you're going through the yucky, messy middle of it, remember to give yourself and permission to be kind and compassionate to yourself. Give yourself that permission to be compassionate and kind to yourself. It will go a long way through this journey with your body. I want to thank you for listening. I want to thank you for being here. As always, I'm sending you so much love from my heart to yours on your journey. Thank you.